Hi. Okay, so sorry about that. So I'm South African, and I decided to, after doing both family trees for my dad, who's British, and my mom, who's South African, I just wanted to learn a bit more about the ethnicity because I haven't been able to trace a lot of my mom's side, who her mom we just lost touch with and don't know much about at all. So that's why I've done this. So looking at the ethnicity, I mean, I did this a few weeks ago in November. It's now Christmas. See all the lights behind me. Um, I was quite shocked when I saw this because 33% Irish. I was expecting I'd get half of my dad, which would be 50% British, with some Scandinavian, some Irish, and then 50% English mixed with the South African. Obviously, a lot of South Africans have um, native African or Asian in their DNA just because of the history of South Africa. It's quite a rich culture. But no, I am 33% Irish, which is interesting. So if we look at the breakdown quick, and each region, when you click on it, you get a little bit of information about you know, what happens there, who lives there. So we have North Africa, North, Morocco, Algeria, Libya. A lot of this could have been from mom's side, I'm guessing, but it's only minus 1%, less than 1%. We also have Native American. I was flipping out. We've just had Standing Rock happen recently. My people, so no. I've actually realized that a lot of South Africans have Asian, which makes sense. I have a 10th great grandfather who has married a woman whose mom was a Filipino slave. We think, I don't know, it's kind of blurred lines because I'm just taking information that's already online that's been sourced by other people in South Africa. It's kind of difficult to do the family tree from the UK where I live now. And then we've got Ireland, 33%, Scandinavia, 28%. So mum's side, maybe, I don't know, with the Dutch, German, or even dad's a Viking, who knows. So yeah, interesting to see when you click on each little segment of where you have DNA coming from. What they do is they run their DNA 40 times. They scan it against people who are currently living there, but who can trace their lineage back hundreds of years. So they actually show how much you compare to people, typically native people living there. You can scroll down, you can have a look at other places that DNA may come from, population history, age of the Vikings. I like it. Um, yeah, quite a lot of interesting stuff. If you're interested in history, like I am, you'll be interested in reading up with regards to all of this, and it goes into so much detail. There's also ethnicity estimate video on how they do it, how they get the range calculated. There's even white papers if you're really into it. But yeah, so I mean, it's quite interesting, really. I wasn't expecting such a big mix of everything. I've got 19% West Europe, which is the German France section. Again, probably a lot from mom's side. 5% Great Britain. Where are you, Britain? There you are, only 5%. Even though dad's Holcombe side goes back to Devon to the 1500s. We also have Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal. I've read up on this. A lot of Irish people have that as well. There were the Spanish Armada shipwrecked along the Irish coast. So my grandfather Kerry has a big moustache. I always think he looks Italian or Spanish or something. And then 4% Italy, Greece, 1% Europe, Jewish. Yeah, that was quite interesting as well. I'm actually quite proud of that. I don't know why. I just think with all the history of Jewish people moving around, and that was possibly mom's side of the family as well, because it's so filtered down. It could be like 10th, 11th, 12th grandparents who went from Denmark, Germany, Poland area down to South Africa as well. Europe East, and that's Poland, Ukraine, Romania, so gypsy. There's also, if you click on the ones that have 0%, sometimes there is a trace of that, but when they run it 40 times, it doesn't come up enough for you to actually have that substantially in the DNA for them to put it down, but it's there. So click on 0%. Also, Caucasus. I had to look this up because I'm not really familiar with it, but it is the Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey. Again, found in the Romanian side of the world, so gypsy maybe again. But yeah, quite interesting. There's also, once you do your DNA, don't just leave it on Ancestry, because I mean, if you look back at mine, I only have 68 fourth cousins, and fourth cousins is quite difficult to find because it's your fourth great grandparents, third great grandparents relations, and if you don't have a big tree, it's not really easy to trace back and find the links. So I put my DNA on GEDmatch. Quite easy to do. You leave it for 24 hours or so and come back to it, and you can match your DNA against everyone in that database, and there's thousands. Everyone around the world. There's a lot of South Africans, there's a lot of Dutch. So having done that, I found a third cousin, which is closer than Ancestry, and they have emails, so you can just email them and say, hi, how do we have a link? Can we, swap family trees? And I got in touch with a woman whose husband had the DNA linked to me, and it was through my mom's family, the Wessels family. And through getting in touch with them and looking through more records, I actually found people on Facebook who had married into the Wessels family, and yeah, amazingly found my grandmother, which is my mom's mom. And even though mom doesn't really know her mom, didn't grow up with her, from my point of view, not having any grandparents growing up, because both my parents had divorces in their families, so they didn't know their families. It's amazing just to have that link to the further generations back that you otherwise wouldn't have a link to. So I find myself quite lucky. My grandmother is living in South Africa and is Dutch, doesn't speak English at all. She's Afrikaans, so busy corresponding through her daughter, my mom's half sister. But yeah, it's good because now we've got more information about the family tree, and yeah, it's nice to have that brick wall broken down, and the extra branch of the family tree that isn't blank anymore is there, if that makes sense. So I would definitely recommend doing a family tree, doing a DNA test, even if it's just to see your ethnicity. That's quite interesting, but also putting it up on GEDmatch, putting it up on DNA Land. There are so many websites that you can play around with. I found a tool the other day. I'll put the web link in this video, but it was actually a DNA tool that you could put your ancient DNA on, and I found ancient DNA to different sort of farmers, European farmer, ancients DNA. What else was it? Clovis, which has been linked to the Native American and Siberian, sort of ancient Indian DNA. So pretty sure there is some native something in there. But yeah, it's just interesting to see it go back and kind of see your roots and see how you fit in this world, because even though I look like a white South African, there's much more. So yeah, I would recommend it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and thumbs up to this. Comment if you can. I'm not sure if you can, but yeah, hopefully it's useful to other people who are interested in doing DNA in South Africa, and you find it knowledgeable. You find it useful to you. But yeah, all right, I've got a little box saying I have 26 seconds, so I'll end this. But happy hunting. Cheers.